or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Patty Young, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the July 23rd issue of the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Erie County Maple Road reconstruction begins. The Maple Road reconstruction project is set to begin with lane restrictions on Monday, August 3rd. According to an update from CNS Companies, the engineering firm overseeing the project, Erie County is in the process of awarding the project to Union Concrete Construction. The project is scheduled to begin in August and be substantially complete by the end of November. The road will be open during construction. However, there will be some delays while the contractor is working. The purpose of this project is to rehabilitate approximately 0.4 miles of Maple Road from Main Street to the village line. The project will completely reconstruct the roadway, replacing pavement, drainage systems, curbing, snow storage areas, driveway aprons, and sidewalks. Additional improvements include the sidewalk replacement on the Maple Road Bridge over Tannery Brook, updating signs and pavement markings, and relocating sanitary pump station controls and a utility pole. Union Concrete Construction also completed the Pine Street reconstruction project last year. Additional information and biweekly updates can be found at www.cscos.com/maple-and-pine. Questions can be emailed to mapleandpine@cscos.com. Elma Board hears dumping complaint. Couple accuses business owner of contaminating property again. Property owners in the town of Elma have continued to ask the town board to intervene in what they consider illegal waste dumping on their land. Robert Gross and Lori Widener, who own a house on Northrop Road, voiced their complaints again about a neighboring business owner to the town board the night of Wednesday, July 15th. Gross and Widener voiced their frustrations about Todd Huber, who owns Building Solutions at 6091 Seneca Street. They have accused him of depositing slag, ash, blacktop, road milling, tires, and steel in a ravine on their property. Huber, who did not attend the meeting, has a permit to dump sand and stone. Blaming town officials for not enforcing laws, Gross requested answers about why the town government has not taken any action. "Why do we have town codes?" he asked. Widener, Gross's wife, voiced worries about future generations being exposed to contaminants. Yelling and at times swearing, she asserted officials do not care about residents' health. She described their attitude as too bad for them and too bad for their kids. After she reached the 3-minute limit, the board adjourned the meeting. She continued talking after the adjournment. Gross and Widener have sued Huber, who has spoken during previous board meetings. Officials did not respond to their comments. Building Solutions provides residential construction, grading, paving, landscaping, drainage, electric, roofing, and other services. Also at the meeting, board members also applied for a pair of state grants for the second time. They requested a grant to build a sewer pumping station for the town to share with Iroquois Central School District, and a grant to convert a pair of tennis courts to pickleball courts. In the state grant applications, the board requested a grant that would let the town replace a sewer plant with a pumping station. The station would connect to the Iroquois High School, Middle School, Intermediate School campus on Girdle Road. Creating the station would place the campus in the Alma Meadows Sewer District. No dollar amount has been determined, but Supervisor Wayne Clark hopes for $4 million. The last time the town applied for the grant, the State Environmental Facilities Corps lacked the funding. Every time the grant comes out, we have to reapply and go through steps, Clark said. No matching amount is required. For the other grant, the board wants to convert a pair of tennis courts on Creek Road to pickleball courts. The project would cost $150,560. There is no matching amount. In another matter, the board approved a business use permit to change Scruggs Automotive Repair at 6440 Seneca Street to Neighborhood Car Care. The co-owner, Henry Rose, explained that his business partner retired and wanted his name removed. Board members also authorized a business use permit for Gold Star, a feed and grain business at 7615 Seneca Street. The company purchased the building, which formerly belonged to Impact America of New York. On another topic, the board established the hourly pay rate for Brian Batter in the water department at $31.91. The rate has been incorrectly listed. Village approves 5-year term for trustees in next election. The Village of East Aurora is looking to move the election cycle to even years to be consistent with the other local elections in the state. As a result of this proposal, the Village Board unanimously voted to allow for next year's trustees to have a term of 5 years during the July 20th meeting. There was no public hearing regarding the proposal, and no one from the public spoke during the public comment period regarding the issue. In February 2021, the Village Board voted to extend the term limits of both the mayor and trustees from a 2-year term to a 4-year term. The first trustees to serve a 4-year term were elected in 2022. As a result of this change, the village would undergo elections for 2 years in a row with a 3-year gap between elections. Trustee Ryan Camp said that he believed the 3-year gap seemed to be unresponsive. Elections for Village Board are held in March. There will still be a 3-year gap after the upcoming election. Currently, the seats up for election next year are occupied by Kristen Cameron, Steve Lazikis, and Kay Grace Vigor, who was recently appointed to complete Jeff Raby's term after his resignation. The winners of the 2027 election cycle will have a term that expires in 2032. Presently, Mayor Luke Wilczynski, Deputy Mayor Chelsea Root, Camp and Trustee Timothy Bojanowski have terms that expire in 2030. After 2027, all elections will be held in an even year. New owners outline vision for the Roycroft Inn and Mansion on Delaware. The new owners of the Roycroft Inn say they plan to preserve the historic property's character while enhancing guest amenities, exploring expanded dining options, and building on its reputation as one of Western New York's premier boutique hotels. Visions Hotels managing partner Aaron Patel said the company recently finalized its purchase of both the Roycroft Inn in East Aurora and the Mansion on Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. While the two 28-room boutique hotels share similarities, Patel said each will follow a different path. "We are very proud of our acquisition," Patel said of the Roycroft Inn. "It's a very nice boutique hotel. It's different from our other hotels, and we like it a lot." Visions Hotels has owned the Hampton Inn on Olean Road in East Aurora for approximately 15 years. Patel said the Roycroft acquisition represents an opportunity to expand the company's boutique hotel portfolio while providing hands-on experience for the next generation of family leadership. His son, Arjun Patel, will oversee operations at the Hampton Inn while learning the boutique hotel business at the Roycroft Inn. "It's small enough for him to learn, but at the same time, it's very intricate," Patel said. "Everything comes down to guest service and community relations. You have to be very good to be successful at a hotel like that." Patel, who has worked in the hospitality industry for 45 years, said Visions Hotels now owns approximately 65 hotels. He began his career making beds and cleaning rooms before purchasing a 20-room hotel in Corning with his family. Unlike the mansion on Delaware, which Patel said will require significant capital improvements, he believes the Roycroft Inn is already in excellent condition. The Roycroft doesn't need a lot of capital improvement money, Patel said. It's already very, very nice. We're making a new parking lot, improving the landscaping, and making the patio area better, but there's not much needed there. The company is also considering expanding dining hours, with breakfast service emerging as a possibility. We're debating opening for breakfast, Patel said. We think there's room for a very nice breakfast destination. There are already a lot of great lunch places in East Aurora, so breakfast may be something different we can offer. Future plans for the Roycroft Chapel are still being developed. The chapel is a little bit of a mystery for us, Patel said. We're tossing around ideas, but right now we're focused on running the hotel and restaurant and making small improvements. Patel said operating a boutique hotel differs significantly from managing a national chain because owners have greater flexibility to personalize the guest experience. He recalled offering complimentary snow removal from guests' vehicles at one of the company's Hampton Inns, a service that became so popular Hilton Hotels asked the company to discontinue it because it could not be offered consistently across the brand. With a boutique hotel, you can expand your service level however you want, Patel said. It's your hotel. You're the owner. You don't have someone telling you what you can and cannot do. Patel said retaining the Roycroft Inn's existing staff was also a priority. The whole team is very good there, he said. We're not changing anyone. They do a very good job, and my children will learn from everybody there. Patel said he is excited to deepen the company's roots in East Aurora. We're very excited to be part of East Aurora, he said. We're going to try to make the Roycroft and the Mansion among the best boutique hotels in Buffalo, places people love for weddings, social gatherings, and special events. Summer abroad. Iroquois high school students pose in Rothenburg, Germany while on a trip to Europe, orchestrated by Dr. Richard Violanti. About 70 students and parents traveled to Germany, Austria, Italy, Switzerland, and France in a span of 2 weeks, coming back last Monday, July 13th. Good for the neighborhood to offer free school supplies, health screenings. Families can receive free back-to-school supplies, health screenings, and wellness resources during an upcoming Good for the Neighborhood event at the Rural Outreach Center. The free community event, presented by Independent Health Foundation and Golisano Children's Hospital of Buffalo, will be held from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Saturday, August 15th at the Rural Outreach Center, 730 Olean Road. Children attending the event will receive free backpacks and school supplies while supplies last. Attendees will also have access to free eye pressure and vision screenings provided by University at Buffalo Sight Savers, blood pressure checks from ECMC Population Health, health information, and children's activities. Good for the Neighborhood gives us a chance to connect with the community members who need us the most, giving them access to important health screenings, resources, and tools to support their overall health and well-being, said Carrie Meyer, Executive Director of the Independent Health Foundation. Meyer said the summer events are designed to help residents prioritize their health while easing some of the financial burden families face as they prepare for the new school year. The East Aurora event is the final stop in the Foundation's Summer Good for the Neighborhood series, which began July 16th in Niagara Falls and included community events throughout Western New York. Good for the Neighborhood is a free community-based wellness program that offers health education, screenings, and resources at schools, community centers, and other neighborhood locations. The annual late summer series includes the distribution of free school supplies to children. The Independent Health Foundation, established in 1992, supports programs focused on improving the health and well-being of Western New York residents through education, prevention, and community outreach. It's time for the 18th Annual Summer Concert Series on Wednesdays, starting July 29th, Boys of Summer, 6:30 p.m. with the Polish Villa 2 food truck. August 12th, with Nerds Gone Wild at 6:30 p.m., Morrison Living Hot Dog Dinner. August 26th, Cammie and the Fringe at 6:30 p.m., and the Cheesy Chick food truck. All are welcome. Remember your own lawn chair. This is at Fox Run at Orchard Park Gazebo. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Erie County Sheriff's Report. Multiple charges in Marilla. Erie County Sheriff's deputies responded on July 14th, a disturbance call in Marilla, for a man who was being charged with fourth-degree criminal mischief and second-degree harassment. While the man was being booked at the Erie County Holding Center, a quantity of heroin was discovered in his wallet. He was additionally charged with seventh-degree criminal possession of a controlled substance and a second-degree promoting prison contraband. In other area calls handled by the Erie County Sheriff's deputies out of the Clarence and Alma substation, July 11th, an ambulance transported a child to the hospital after she was bit by a dog on Rush Drive in Alden. The dog control officer was notified of the incident. After conducting a traffic stop at the intersection between Transit Drive and Seneca Street in Alma, a man was charged with third-degree aggravated unlicensed operation. A resident of Big Tree Road in Wales reported an Amazon package which had been delivered to the wrong address. July 12th, a resident of Rice Road in Alma reported his mailbox was destroyed. The mailbox was separated from the post, and an impact in the center of the floor plate was found with an outward explosion consistent with damage caused by a small explosive or firework. A babysitter reported concerns that someone may be on the roof of the house on Phillips Road in Holland. Further inspection determined that the subject was a raccoon. July 13th. After a two-vehicle crash at the intersection between Girdle and Rice Roads in Alma, one individual was transported to a local hospital for pain related to airbag deployment. A dump truck driver failed to yield the right-of-way, causing a motorcyclist to crash at the intersection between Big Tree and Two Rod Roads in Wales. The motorcyclist was transported to ECMC for an apparent broken clavicle, and the dump truck operator was ticketed. July 14th, a homeowner on Town Line Road in Alden called to report a woman who was at her property and attempting to move in. The woman claimed to have leased the property. The incident was determined to be a scam. July 15th, Community Engagement Team personnel provided Bicycle Patrol Town's Summer Concert Series on Bowen Road in Alma. July 16th, no incidents were reported on this date. July 17th, a vehicle backing out of a parking spot struck a vehicle driving on Elm Street in Alden, and both vehicles were damaged. Lancaster resident charged in alleged $1 million equipment fraud scheme. A male from Lancaster who operated multiple equipment sales businesses has been charged in federal court with bank fraud after allegedly defrauding customers out of more than $1 million through the fraudulent sale of forklifts and other heavy equipment. Jason Knobloch, 56, was arrested and charged by criminal complaint with bank fraud, a charge that carries a maximum penalty of 30 years in prison and a $1 million fine, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of New York. Federal prosecutors allege that beginning in February 2021, Knobloch and others operated a scheme through KJJK Equipment Sales, doing business as Kelly Lift Equipment and Clover Lift Equipment, doing business as Lifts for Less, in which customers paid for forklifts and similar equipment that either was never delivered or was replaced with equipment of lesser value. According to the criminal complaint, customers located the businesses through online searches and negotiated purchases before receiving payment instructions. After payment was made, prosecutors allege, customers were given various explanations for shipping delays before the companies eventually stopped responding to emails and phone calls. In the few instances when equipment was delivered, prosecutors alleged the machinery did not match what had been advertised, with serial numbers differing from those listed and significantly higher usage hours than promised. Investigators estimate approximately 32 victims lost more than $1 million as a result of the alleged scheme. The complaint also alleges Knobloch attempted to withdraw additional money from customers' bank accounts without their knowledge months after the original transactions. In one example cited by prosecutors, the owner of Plum Level and Square paid $59,900 for equipment in December 2021 that was never delivered. Approximately 8 months later, investigators allege attempts were made to deposit additional checks using the customer's banking information without authorization. Similar attempts allegedly involved transactions totaling $27,000, $22,600, and $28,400. According to investigators, impacted financial institutions included Bank of America, Citizens Bank, and Good Neighbors Federal Credit Union. Knobloch was released on home confinement following a detention hearing. Aurora Police Report. Bathroom vandalized in Hamlin Park. Vandalism was discovered in a Hamlin Park bathroom on Thursday, July 16th. The damage was noticed around 10 p.m. as on-duty officers were locking up the restrooms for the night. When securing the men's bathroom located in the Grove, both urinals were found to be damaged. A gray cinder block was located in one urinal and rocks in the other. According to the report, the damage is consistent with the rocks and cinder blocks on scene. Photographs of the damage were taken and the Department of Public Works was advised. The incident was turned over to the Detectives Bureau. Petty larceny. Larceny was reported at a business on Old Transit Road at 11:30 p.m. Thursday, July 2nd. According to the report, an employee produced a receipt showing that at 7:30 p.m., an unidentified customer paid $547.30 for 14 individuals to play 9 holes of golf, 14 sleeves of Night Flyer golf balls, and 4 sets of rental golf clubs. The employee stated that only 3 seats of rental golf clubs were returned before the customer and his group left the premises. The estimated value of the golf clubs is approximately $675, and the golf bag is approximately $200. The employee was able to produce video surveillance footage of the transaction taking place. The surveillance shows the rest of the party arriving on location and shows the subject and his party leaving. Due to lack of video quality, it was unable to make out any identification on the bus. The bus company will be contacted to possibly identify the subject. The employee does not wish to press charges and would just like the merchandise to be returned. In a subsequent report on July 8th, the employee stated he had contacted a bus company that was able to give the phone number of the subject. The subject was contacted and asked to return the clubs. The subject agreed, stating that taking the golf club set was a mistake and he will return the clubs as soon as possible. Fictitious inspection sticker. A DMV inquiry was conducted on a vehicle traveling southbound on Route 400 at 11 a.m. Sunday, July 12th, and it was discovered that the vehicle's inspection had expired in July 2025. The report says the vehicle has a sticker on it indicating the inspection was good until January 2027. The driver was identified as a 39-year-old female from Cheektowaga. An investigation into the inspection sticker revealed the VIN number on the inspection did not match the vehicle, and the mileage shown on the sticker was not accurate for what the vehicle odometer had shown. The subject stated she was not aware that the inspection could have been fraudulent. The report says she stated that she had taken her vehicle to the mechanic recently to have the inspection taken care of. Vandalism. A report of vandalism at a Main Street business was made by an 83-year-old male from East Aurora following an incident that occurred at 11 p.m. Sunday, July 12th. The complainant stated that when he got home, he could smell the odor of spray paint and cigarette smoke. The complainant also observed multiple acts of graffiti to his property, including on his mailbox and the west side of the building. According to the report, additional graffiti was observed on a light pole of a neighboring business, garbage cans, the sidewalk, and a tree. The complainant showed a video of 2 possible subjects getting into a van. The van's registration was captured on the video as well. Pictures of the graffiti were taken. The Orleans County Sheriff's Office was contacted to check the only known address for the subject. A sheriff's deputy spoke to the resident, who stated that her former partner had not lived there for approximately a year and now lives in East Aurora with a female who is unknown to her. The case was forwarded to the Detectives Bureau for follow-up. In a supplemental report, graffiti on a tree nearby was reported. The tree is located on the easement between the street and the sidewalk. The Department of Public Works was notified. Criminal mischief. A 32-year-old male from East Aurora reported someone trespassing on his property with an ATV at 4:30 p.m. Monday, July 13th. According to the report, the victim stated he has been having a lot of issues with ATVs, snowmobiles, dogs, and hikers trespassing on his property, and as a result, he posted no trespassing signs and roped off the gas line where the trespassing occurs. The victim stated that at the time of the incident, he was outside putting together a play set with his child and dog when he heard an ATV in the distance. The victim stated he observed an ATV driving up the gas line towards the property where it is posted. The ATV driver reportedly stopped in front of the posted signs, hesitated for a moment, and then drove over the metal staked sign and rope. The sign was bent, the rope was broken, and both signs were ripped off. According to the report, the victim stated he flagged the driver down and the ATV driver pulled up. An argument ensued over who had ownership to the property before the driver of the ATV took off, narrowly hitting the victim. The victim said the identity of the ATV driver as a 51-year-old male from East Aurora. He was identified on social media. The victim stated he did not give permission for the subject to be on his property, nor did he give the subject permission to damage any of his property. The victim stated he wished to pursue charges for criminal mischief with intent to damage property in the 4th degree and criminal trespassing in the 3rd degree. The victim stated he is fearful of the subject and requested an order of protection for himself and his family. Paperwork was filed with the court for the charges, requesting a criminal summons and temporary order of protection for the family. Hit and run. A 26-year-old male from Tonawanda reported a motor vehicle accident where the driver left the scene at 2:30 p.m. Wednesday, July 15th. The complainant stated that his vehicle had been struck on Jewett-Homewood Road and the vehicle had left the scene traveling westbound. The complainant stated he was traveling eastbound on Jewett-Homewood when a vehicle traveling westbound crossed the dividing line and entered his lane, causing the complainant to swerve, attempting to avoid collision. The complainant's vehicle was struck by the oncoming vehicle and he suffered damage to his driver's side mirror, driver door, and front driver's side window. The Orchard Park Police Department located the involved vehicle at the intersection of Armored Duels and Chestnut Ridge Roads. Contact was made with the driver, a 62-year-old male from Orchard Park. According to the report, the subject stated he was aware of the contact made and did not stop, because similar instances have happened to him in the past, and he believed he did not have to remain at the scene of the incident. The subject was charged with leaving the scene of an accident, moving from a lane unsafely, and failure to use a designated lane. Both the complainant and subject were provided with accident information exchange forms, and both vehicles were able to be driven from the scene. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Neighbor dispute. A report of possible criminal mischief was made by a 67-year-old male victim from East Aurora at 11:30 a.m. Saturday, July 18th. According to the report, the victim stated he had been having issues with his 65-year-old male neighbor in regards to the property lines between their residences. The victim stated on July 15th he placed 2 stakes and a pink string attached to the stakes on the west side of his property alongside the fence. On July 17th, the pink string was laying on the ground, and the victim believed it had been cut and damaged by someone. The victim stated he has multiple cameras along his property, but not in the area where the string was damaged. The victim believes his neighbor may have been the one who damaged the string, and stated he wanted to press charges if the person who caused the damage was found. The neighbor was contacted and stated he does not know who cut and damaged the string. The neighbor was advised that the victim has multiple cameras along his property line. The neighbor asked if they were facing his backyard, to which he was told they were not directly facing his property. Leaving the scene. A hit-and-run accident in a Gray Street parking lot was reported at 4 p.m. Saturday, July 18th. According to the report, a 50-year-old male complainant stated he had arrived in the parking lot at approximately 3:30 p.m. and parked his vehicle. He arrived back at his vehicle and observed damage to his driver's side door. The report says the complainant was adamant that the damage to his vehicle occurred while he was in the parking lot. Damage was observed to be a dent just below the driver door handle with blue paint transfer. The estimated damage was valued at $500. The business was unable to produce video of the incident. Attempt to locate. A welfare check was requested on Sunday, July 19th, by an 80-year-old female from West Falls who stated that she and her 83-year-old husband got into a brief verbal argument. The two parties separated in the household for approximately 1 hour, but when the complainant went to find the subject to resolve the argument, she noticed he and a vehicle were gone. According to the report, the complainant stated the subject has dementia and listed places the couple frequents in East Aurora. The complainant stated she was not worried about the subject's mental health. She just believed he did not know where he was going or what he was doing. The subject's information was relayed to dispatch, which put out an attempt to locate. Frequented locations were checked. A flock hit was received in the area of Main Street and Transit Road in Williamsville at approximately 1 p.m. A silver alert was then issued on the subject. The New York State Police notified dispatch that the vehicle was on the I-90 in the area of Dunkirk. Dunkirk police were advised the subject was located in Ohio. Birding from the porch. Most people have a porch or something similar which allows them to sit and watch what's happening outside. That porch could be anything from a deck to a room in the house with a good-sized window. It might even be a couple of lawn chairs under a tree near the house that affords a great view of the birds in the backyard. If you are feeding the birds anything, including grape jelly, sugar water, suet cakes, peanuts, sunflower seeds, mealworms, Niger seeds, or simply a mix, you have a much better chance of seeing some interesting birds and young bird activity. It was 25 years ago this summer that we moved into our new house here on the farm. Mom and Dad gave us a couple of acres to build on. As much as planning the interior layout is exciting, I was equally enthused about making sure that we would have plenty of opportunity to see the birds from various locations, including a couple of big windows and having a porch and a small deck. At the same time, we had a barn built to accommodate our bird feed and landscaping business. That barn would have a lean-to porch along the front where our self-serve bird feed is sold. Little did I realize how handy that lean-to porch would be as a prime birding spot. Our barn porch faces the north and thus the road, thus convenient for the customers to drive up and easily load their bird feed. The bird feed is in bags with prices labeled on each bag. There are 3 large covered wooden boxes that hold this feed. These boxes are my chair for watching a lot of bird activity. On a hot summer day, I frequently enjoy sitting there in the shade where I can read the mail, catch up on my phone messages, and keep an eye on the bird action. Some of the action is at the variety of close-up feeders that I have hanging under the eaves, and some is at the feeders located in a couple of nearby trees. When we built the house, this property had a total of 5 trees, and now we have over 100. So my barn lean-to is a favorite birding porch for me. It's peaceful, and the birds seem accustomed and trusting with me sitting there. I'm sure the same happens for you from your favorite bird lookout spot. It's been fun over the last few weeks seeing various woodpeckers, families, bringing their young to the feeding station. Over at the house, where we feed the grape jelly in 4 separate glass bowls on our small deck railing, we are having great fun watching both species of orioles and their young. As I mentioned before, this time of year the orioles are rather inconsistent in coming to the grape jelly. It can vary from one place to another and depends on habitat and other factors. And by August, the grape jelly can start attracting yellow jackets and hornets. Back to the bird feed boxes. From that one location this summer, I have watched nesting bluebirds, chickadees, robins, phoebes, and tree and barn swallows. Currently, I'm watching subsequent nesting of bluebirds, but this is a different pair. How do I know? Because this pair has white eggs versus the previous, more common turquoise robin-like color. It is so much fun watching the adults bring food to the young. This same box had a nest of 5 babies last August, ready to fledge, but a raccoon raided the nest one night and wiped them out. That won't happen this year because I put a heavy-duty baffle on the post that holds the nest box. But there is always the risk of other predators disrupting the nest. As I drive the countryside where I have nest boxes up, I am seeing lots of bluebird activity, which means many bluebirds are on their second nesting of the season. Some may end up with a 3rd nesting attempt in August. So don't give up and make sure your nest boxes are in good shape for a new nesting. Goldfinches are the only bird species here in western New York that have not yet nested. Later this month, they will begin the process. Their fledgling young in late August will have it much easier finding food right when the wildweed seed crop will be peaking. They especially like eating native thistle seeds. I've seen some really pretty photos of a bright yellow male sitting in a large lavender-colored blooming thistle plant. So where's your favorite birding porch at your residence? Enjoy peace and tranquility without earbuds or music so that you can hear what's going on. The more you hear, or should I say the more you listen, the more you will see. Without our ears, our birding experience is likely to be only a small fraction of what it could be. I have so much enjoyed inviting friends and my bird feed customers to have a seat on my bird feed boxes or the bench next to them for some great birding time together. Often we spend 15 minutes together, and that time together is precious in this hurry-up lifestyle we get caught up in. For me, enjoying and sharing the fun and beauty of the birds with others is what life is all about. And that's why I've been sharing my bi-weekly bird stories and information with you, my loyal readers, for over 35 years. Until next time, be thankful for our blessings. Roycroft Master Artist to present Free Little Journeys Lecture. The Roycrofters at Large Association and the Roycroft Inn will welcome Roycroft Master Painter and nationally recognized artist C.J. Hurley as the featured speaker for the next Little Journeys lecture on Wednesday, August 5th at the Roycroft Chapel. Hurley will present The Romantic Legacy an exploration of the arts and crafts movement as part of the broader Romantic movement in art and literature. The lecture will examine Romanticism's emergence following the Age of Reason, its response to the Industrial Revolution, and its influence on Albert Hubbard's Roycroft philosophy. The presentation will also highlight the contributions of Romantic poets, writers, and artists while examining how the arts and crafts movement translated Romantic ideals into everyday life. Hurley will discuss the movement's lasting impact, its relationship with nature, and why he believes Romantic thought remains relevant today. Hurley and his wife Barbara operate Century Arts Design and Fine Arts Studio in Oil City, Pennsylvania. The couple are longtime participants in the Roycroft Summer and Winter Festivals in East Aurora. Trained as a painter at Guilford College, Hurley is known for his detailed watercolor and India ink works, as well as custom-painted interiors that combine architecture, symbolism, and fine art. His work has been featured in museums, publications, and galleries throughout the country. The evening begins with a cocktail hour at 4:30 p.m. in the Roycroft Inn Library Bar, followed by the lecture at 6 p.m. in the Roycroft Chapel. Guests who make dinner reservations at the Roycroft Inn for 7:15 p.m. or later and mention Little Journeys will receive a 10% discount on their meal. The lecture is free to attend, but advance registration is required, and tickets are needed for entry to the chapel. Active RALA members and patrons who cannot attend in person may participate through a live stream. Membership information and tickets for RALA's 2026 Goodie Box fundraiser will also be available before and after the presentation. Little Journeys is RALA's educational lecture series featuring artist talks, demonstrations, and presentations that connect the public with contemporary Roycroft artisans while honoring Albert Hubbard's original Little Journeys tradition. For reservations and more information, visit ralaweb.com. Land Conservancy raises $1 million toward Bear Lake Preserve project. The Western New York Land Conservancy has surpassed the $1 million mark in its campaign to purchase and permanently protect the 311-acre Bear Lake Preserve in the town of Stockton, bringing the project significantly closer to completion. The organization announced it has now secured $1 million toward the acquisition, including a $675,000 grant awarded earlier this year through the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation. Since then, the effort has received an additional $50,000 from the Nature Conservancy's Climate Resilience Grant Program, along with donations from private individuals and foundations. The Land Conservancy must raise another $500,000 by the end of 2026 to complete the purchase. Once protected, the property will become a publicly accessible nature preserve featuring shoreline access to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation's water trail on the 114-acre Bear Lake, with a connection to the existing public boat launch. The preserve is part of a larger network of protected lands that includes the College Lodge Forest and Floating Fen, both owned by the Western New York Land Conservancy, as well as a neighboring property recently acquired by Everwild Land Trust, formerly known as the Chautauqua Watershed Conservancy. Together, the interconnected forests encompass approximately 900 acres within the Western New York Wildway, providing habitat for numerous rare plant and animal species and protecting a diverse collection of wetlands and forest ecosystems. The Western New York Land Conservancy has protected more than 8,500 acres of land across the region. The nonprofit land trust works to conserve forests, farms, meadows, and waterways for future generations while promoting clean air, clean water, and healthy ecosystems. More information about the Bear Lake Preserve Project or donation opportunities is available at www.wlcc.org. www.wnylc.org. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Different outcomes for proposed stop signs. Board takes no action on contested intersection. Several residents were on hand Monday evening during the July 20th village meeting to share comments regarding stop signs proposed at two separate intersections. The village chose to take action at the intersection of Center and South Streets, but chose to take no action at the intersection of Pine Street and Girard Avenue, citing safety concerns and opposition from area residents. Both proposals come on the heels of recommendations by the Erie County Highway Department, who stated that while neither intersection met the requirements for stop signs as a result of volume and traffic accidents, both met the requirements with respect to sight lines. An all-way stop at the intersection of Center and South Street was unanimously approved by the village board. 3 area residents present spoke in favor of the stop signs. Erin Redding said she believed that it allows children the ability to cross the street when there are additional stop signs and crosswalks present within the village. One email was received by area residents Jason and April Rudnicki, who opposed the erection of stop signs. The email stated that they believed stop signs should not be constructed as a means to reduce speed, and increasing stop signs will result in more rolling stops. I think this is a very low-stakes area where we can try this, Trustee Ryan Camp said. If we find it's a nuisance, if we find it's generating odors and noise we don't like, if we find it's creating too much backup on the north of Center, we can reevaluate. Trustee Timothy Bojanowski said that in his discussions with Erie County engineers, other traffic calming measures, including a mini roundabout, were not possible in that area. Center Road is more narrow than other county roads, and it will be difficult for county plows to navigate. The signs will be installed in the coming weeks and fully functional before the school year starts. Department of Public Works General Foreman Jeff Stoll said that message boards announcing the stop sign would be posted a few weeks before the signs go into effect. Police Chief Patrick Welch said that officers would be issuing warnings over citations for drivers in the early days of the stop signs being functional. We'll use it as community education, Welch said. With respect to Pine Street and Girard Avenue, several area residents who have been present at previous board meetings with concerns about traffic safety and speed in the area stated they were not in favor of proposed stop signs at that intersection. Michelle Parrish diagrammed the issues she currently has pulling out from Lawrence Avenue onto Pine Street and said that she believed a stop sign at Girard Avenue would only increase those problems. It's a mess, Parrish said. A stop sign isn't going to help us. Stephen Davis suggested there was more to investigate regarding the Pine Street speed and traffic problem and was not in support of the stop signs. Davis said that some of his neighbors have to cross the street in his driveway and he is concerned for their safety. Some residents lost their sidewalk as a result of the Pine Street reconstruction project, and Mayor Luke Wojcicki stated that the village would be reaching out to those residents. Jerry Thompson Jr. said he believed the stop signs would create more dangerous traffic problems on Pine. Thompson said he believed the intersection could result in serious traffic backup, and the proximity of the intersection to the blind corner on Porterville could result in rear-end collisions as there's not enough time to brake. Thompson cited the recent lowering of speed limits on Snyder Road and other roads within the town of Aurora. He recommended that the board consider reducing the speed limit on Pine Street, a median, and installing a crosswalk. He does not recommend the stop signs. Parrish suggested speed bumps in the area or a possible raised crosswalk at the intersection. Susie Jackson said that she crosses the intersection of Pine Street and Warren Drive and would like to see a crosswalk there. If a car is coming, we wait, Jackson said. I don't think you need to add stop signs along Pine Street. 4 emails were read into the record from area residents against the stop signs. Rose, Colomeo spoke during the public comment period and said she was in favor of the stop signs as she does not have anywhere to safely cross the street while walking. She stated she wanted to see increased enforcement and traffic calming measures in the area. 2 emails directly in support of the stop sign were read into the record. An email from Shelby Deck stated she was in support, but the solution was not perfect. "Let's not let perfect be the enemy of good," Deck's email stated. An email from Mo and Tracy Gavin was received stating something has to be done on Pine Street before someone gets hurt. "I'm chiefly concerned that putting a stop sign there is going to make the situation more dangerous," Camp said. Deputy Mayor Chelsea Root said that the recent walkability seminars the village has conducted with Dan Burden has exposed the village to a variety of alternatives when it comes to dealing with traffic and pedestrians. Wolchensky said that the village should open a dialogue with the county to discuss possible alternatives for traffic calming and safety measures. Camp said that he would take the lead on those discussions. The board took no official action on the proposal. The village board canceled the August 3rd meeting. The board will meet again at 7 p.m. Monday, August 17th at the Aurora Municipal Center on Oakwood Avenue. Tales of Old Elma. Was the world's best potato digger invented in Elma? Once again, we have a tale with a question mark ending the headline, leaving the answer up to the reader. As a kid who spent summers in Allegheny County, this writer once tried to dig potatoes. Repeat, tried. A 1905 book, The Potato, described the process of manual potato harvesting as slow and tedious, noting that a farmhand might harvest potatoes at a rate of 1/8 to 3/8 acre per day. So in the late 1880s, there was a need for a horse-drawn potato harvesters capable of digging up as much as 6 acres of potatoes per day. The Potato only mentions 3 potato digger brands with national availability in 1905, Ruther, Hoover, and Dowden. Reading between the lines a bit, the Ruther digger seemed to impress that book's author, Samuel Fraser, assistant agronomist at Cornell University. Referring to the 1907 S.H. Peak advertisement, potato diggers were horse-drawn, requiring at least 2 strong horses or mules. This was at a time when many self-propelled farm tractors were expensive, steam traction engines, and those didn't supply driveshaft power to an implement towed behind it. Cleats were needed on a potato digger's drive wheels because the horses had to pull hard enough to turn the large spur gears on the drive wheels which powered the digger's mechanisms. Without cleats, the wheels would have merely slid on the dirt without turning. That is, farm implement mechanisms during this era were essentially powered by the horses who pulled the implement, much the same as on reapers, mowers, etc. Thus, potato diggers were complicated machines. Once engaged by a hand lever, a digger's shovel point was forced under a row of potatoes, lifting them out of the ground onto the elevator, where the soil was shaken off. The potatoes were deposited onto the ground in a narrow row behind the digger for farm workers to gather in bushel baskets. The sandy Pine Belt region of the U.S., near the Great Lakes, was cited as the ideal area for potato farming by the United States Department of Agriculture, which also noted New York State was the leading producer of potatoes, such as in 1900 when the state produced 38 million bushels. The town of Elma has varying soil types due to an ancient Lake Erie shoreline that once ran across Elma somewhat diagonally, so there may have been a sandy beach running through town long ago. In Elma in the late 1800s, William and John Ruther, father and son, were potato farmers. Old maps show the Ruther family lived near the intersection of Bullis and Stoll roads, where potato growing was probably ideal, because that area has several specific types of loam soil, which is a mix of sand and silt, along with some clay. William originally moved to Elma to work as a millwright at the nearby Lewis M. Bullis Mills. In 1886, William and John Ruther received their first patent for a furrower and cover, their potato planting machine, dubbed Champion, in the January 1891 Farm Implement News Buyer's Guide. That same guide in 1892 listed the hustler, meaning a fast worker, which was John's first potato digger, and patented that April. In the first year of production, 10 potato diggers were built by William and John, but reference materials disagree as to what year that was. The Ruthers' workshop in Elma had a small forge and 3 machines powered by either hand crank or foot treadle. That is, their machinery was human-powered at a time when rural areas like Elma did not have electricity. That means those first 10 diggers must have required a lot of time and effort to build. Soon, the patented Ruther potato digger was licensed for manufacturing by others. By 1905 newspaper ads, the Leroy Plow Company of Leroy, New York, was licensed to manufacture a version of the Ruther potato digger. John lived there in 1905 while working for that company, per state census data that listed his occupation as inventor. In about 1903, S.H. Peak of East Aurora was also licensed to make the Ruther potato digger and eventually manufactured a total of about 3,000. A 1909 newspaper article noted John received a severe hand injury while employed at Peak's manufacturing works, where he helped build potato diggers, having recently moved to East Aurora from Leroy. Per the Buffalo Courier Express in May 1950, John received a patent royalty from S.H. Peak of $6 per digger, about $225 today, according to currency apps. In 1908, John invented an improved version of his potato digger, which he called Elevated, and by 1950, over 10,500 of that improved digger type were built. Those diggers were first patented in 1909 and had a mechanically driven elevator to better convey the potatoes to the rear while shaking the soil off, then discharging the potatoes behind the digger in a narrow row. Such a digger could harvest more acres per day. In 1914, John moved to Hamburg to build a new foundry and factory for Ruther Manufacturing Company to produce plows and potato farming machinery. In 1922, the U.S. Wind Engine and Pump Company of Batavia, Illinois, was licensed to build the U.S. Ruther digger. Being a large manufacturer of farm windmills, the firm had an established national distribution system. Water pumping windmills were commonplace in rural areas back then. That firm and the Leroy Plow Company continued manufacturing Ruther diggers and repair parts through to 1950 and beyond. John moved back to East Aurora before his death on August 18, 1950, at age 85. John and his wife, Augusta Mann Ruther, are buried in Oakwood Cemetery in East Aurora. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the July 23rd issue of the East Aurora Advertiser. We read from the East Aurora Advertiser every Saturday at 10 a.m. Your reader has been Patty Young. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have a reading of the Niagara Gazette. At noon, we have the Dunkirk Observer. And at 1 o'clock, we have some of our Northtown Bees, including Amherst, Clarence, Cheektowaga, Lancaster, and Depew. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability